Hi, my fellow educators. Welcome to the Teachers Impact Podcast. My name is Shani Marie Ogilvy, certified educator, and I am your host. If you are a teacher that wants to share or hear the opinions, experiences of other teachers, looking for innovative ideas for your classroom, learn how to apply research-based practices in your classroom, feel like your voice is not being heard because decisions are being made by people who haven't been in a classroom, then this podcast is for you. I have been in education for over 10 years and I've served in many different roles. I've been a classroom teacher, instructional coach, supervisor, and curriculum fellow. But in the end, my experience and passion for student achievement is what drives me. My hope is that we're able to share our expertise and knowledge, which helps us to learn and grow through these weekly episodes. Hi everyone, this is episode 26 of the Teachers Impact Podcast. On this episode, we'll be talking about 5 ways to develop your teacher efficacy. On episode 21, we talked about the highest impact on student achievement is collective teacher efficacy. So on this episode, I thought we could dive a little deeper and explore how to develop your teacher efficacy. Teacher efficacy is defined as, quote, teachers' confidence in their ability to promote student learning. In other words, what you believe about your abilities as a teacher is in direct proportion to you promoting student learning. This makes me think of Henry Ford's quote, whether you think you can or you think you can't, you're right. And again, I'm not saying, yes, if you start to think positive overnight, your students are going to learn and grow. However, we need to make sure that we have our belief system and have belief in our abilities that we can promote student learning. The first develop your teacher efficacy is to work through and challenge your prejudices and stereotypes that you may have. And as humans, we all have stereotypes and prejudices that we need to examine in order to be our best selves. Teachers can sometimes unknowingly carry these stereotypes and prejudices into their classroom. For example, one may believe that because students are, quote, at risk, there is nothing that the teacher can do to help them, when in actuality, if the teacher believes in his or her ability that she can help the, quote, at-risk child, then this might make a difference in that student's outcome. And I think it also works the other way around. At one point in my career, I had a gifted student in my classroom and I needed to meet her needs. I had to work through my belief that teaching gifted students is hard. And so I worked with that student. I found strategies and teaching methods to help her so that she could learn and grow. The second way to develop your teacher efficacy is to examine your expectations about the students you teach. And I want you to think about the expectations that you have for the students you teach and ask yourself these questions. Do you believe that because they haven't performed well in previous years, then there is no possible way for them to do well in your class? Do you think advanced concepts in your subject area is too difficult for your students to understand, so you shy away from projects and real-world learning? When a student rises above your expectations, how do you respond? These are just some questions to help you think about your student expectations and how you can or should adjust them to enhance your student learning and develop your teacher efficacy. The third way to develop your teacher efficacy is to observe another effective teacher. And I want to put an emphasis on effective. This is sometimes hard for teachers because you may think that observing another teacher means that you're not a good teacher. But we need to let go of that. That's far from the case. You're learning to see what would work. If you observe another teacher that has the same students as you, or the same background, the same demographics, you'll be able to see that there can be results with those students. Those students are able to achieve at high levels. The fourth way to develop your teacher efficacy is to be open to new ways of learning and teaching. It's easy to get stuck in a rut because what you've been doing works for you in your teaching. Once you experiment with different ways of teaching and learning, you'll gain more confidence in your teaching abilities, which increases your efficacy. Number 5, use your past successes to build on your current teaching. Think about the successes you've had in the past and how those teaching experiences made your students successful. What part of those experiences can you replicate throughout your teaching so you can enhance student learning? For example, I planned an time lesson and created a project for students in kindergarten. And what went well was that my students who typically weren't high performers were the students who performed well on this project-based learning lesson. So with that, I knew that I had to replicate by giving students more STEM-based projects because it would help the learners in my classroom to show demonstration in other ways besides tests and quizzes and writing. So, some key takeaways from this episode. 1. Work through and challenge your prejudices and stereotypes. Number 2. Examine your expectations about the students you teach. Number 3. Observe another highly effective teacher that has a similar demographic as your students. Number 4. Be open to new ways of teaching and learning. Number 5. Successes to build on your current teaching. Before we end this episode, I wanted to let you know that if you're struggling with classroom management and need help, I created a micro training and you can learn more at teachersimpact.net/courses. So make sure to go and check it out. Again, thank you so much for listening. If you found this content helpful and valuable, please share, favorite, and rate on your favorite podcast app. Again, this helps me a whole lot because I'll be able to produce more and more podcast episodes for you so that you can learn and grow. You can also email me at teachersimpacteducation@gmail.com or follow me on Instagram at show. You can follow me on Twitter at ShaniMarieO. Thanks so much for listening and happy learning and growing.